What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at this 2023 Chrysler 300C. This one's finished off in gloss black. MSRP is around $56,600 and this is the final edition for the 300. They're only making 2,000 of these, 1,800 are for the US and 200 are for Canada. Packs a pretty cool surprise underneath the hood, so a good way to say goodbye to the Chrysler 300. Big shout out and thank you to Feeney, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing this 300 for today's video. Take a look at their website, link down below. Underneath the hood of the 2023 Chrysler 300C, you're gonna find that Hemi 6.4 liter naturally aspirated 8-cylinder engine. This V8 is pumping out 485 horsepower with 475 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission and sends all of the power to the rear wheels. With a curb weight around 4,500 pounds, you can still expect 0 to 60 in just 4.3 seconds, topping out at 160 miles per hour. This also runs on an 18.5 gallon fuel tank, so you can expect 15 miles per gallon in the city with 24 out on the highway. The overall length is 198.6 inches with a wheelbase at 120.2. Width is 75 inches with height at 59.2 inches. And this car can even tow about 1,000 pounds. And then now moving on to the exterior styling with this final edition 2023 Chrysler 300, looking super clean in black especially. Just really gives it that menacing, luxurious look. We get a set of LED headlights with a blacked out housing and clear lens, really nicely sunken into the bodywork. We get a gloss black grille with that new 300C logo with the red, white, and blue stripes. Really nice mesh all around to provide maximum cooling to the radiators. And then down below you're going to see a safety sensor, more grille openings, and then LED lights on the far side. We get a pretty large chin spoiler as well, just to add to that performance look. And I really like how the hood has body contours that fade towards the upper portion of the bumper. Has a really nice design overall, even for being a pretty old design. You can see those lines fading towards the windshield. And then as you make our way to the side profile, you get really nice body contours surrounding that front fender. A better look at those Brembo brake calipers. They are 4-piston, and we get a nice set of 20-inch wheels and a split 5-spoke. Somewhat of a wide body design with the way that fender flare is designed. And then one sharp body line cutting its way through the side profile. You can also see some more sharp lines down below that, and then body color for the mirror caps with an LED turn signal, and then more gloss black for these door handles. We get all gloss black trim surrounding the windows with a panoramic roof up top, and the side profile is super cool looking. You can kind of see like a Bentley or Rolls Royce to it, just the way it's shaped. So it definitely has a pretty luxurious vibe. As we make our way in back, you can see a really sharp body line cutting towards these taillights, and then they're nicely sunken into the bodywork, blending perfectly, finished in red. And we get a nice trunk mounted spoiler. We get our third brake light, along with a trunk button and backup camera, blacked out Chrysler badge, 300C on the far right side, and then pretty sharp lines throughout the rear bumper. We get a dual exhaust, finished off in black chrome, and then some black plastic down below with parking sensors. Overall, the style still is pretty nice on the outside, and it's a super clean looking car. Taking a look at the key fob now, we have all of your typical buttons, along with the remote start, Chrysler badges on the back. It is a smart key, so when you do go ahead and lock the car and keep it in your pocket, all you have to do, grab the door handle and it will unlock. We get a full black interior with a little bit of gloss black and carbon fiber trim. And then if we take a look at the door panel now, finished off in black, we get a smooth padded area for your armrest with nice stitching, a good sized grab handle, Alcantara trim on it as well, and you can see the piano black up on top. We got a release handle along with memory seating, all of your window and mirror controls with lock and unlock, and then quite a lot of storage and the gas cap release. We get Chrysler on the door sill, all of your power controls are on the left side of the seat, and then we get this genuine black leather. Real leather in here with perforations in the center, nice stitching as well. We can see that 300 logo embossed into the leather as well, and then some stitching on the headrest. Spinning around, we get a black leather steering wheel with white stitching. And then now inside the 300C, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. Taking a look at the gauge cluster now, we get an LCD display right in the center with an analog tack on the left side with your speedometer on the right, and then fuel and engine temperatures right in the center. You can configure the center screen using this control panel. So right now, if I scroll downwards, you can see all your vehicle information that you can scroll left and right and see basically all the different vitals within this car. We can continue down into performance. You can see the top speed, different settings within the car for 0 to 60, reaction time, quarter mile times, and things like that. Also get a G-force meter. And then you can see driver's assistance with adaptive cruise, average MPG, and then some trip information, and then a few others. If we take a look at the steering wheel, we get that Chrysler badge in the center, controls on the right side for all the cruise control, as well as your forward pacing, some Bluetooth and audio controls. There are some steering wheel mounted paddle shifters on top. They're only about this big, however, they're a nice touch. Underneath that on the back, we do have some radio controls. We have no stock on the right, however, we have our turn signal stock along with your windshield wipers on the left side. Down below, we have all of our headlight controls, interior dimming, and the trunk release, and then the power lever to adjust your steering column. You can see some stitching along with this leather trim all around the dashboard. Has a pretty nice look to it with more stitching. And then on the far right side, you can see more of that with contrast stitching and the gloss black. Moving to the center, we get an analog clock up on top, and then our screen right in the center. We have all of our media controls that will come up. Going under climate, you can easily adjust everything like you'd expect in any Chrysler vehicle. We have more controls for heated and ventilated seating. You can exit out of there. Of course, that gets you to the same piece. We have different apps as well. You can see everything that will pop up. If I go into dashboard for SRT, you can adjust your launch control, shift light. We have performance pages that are going to load, and you're going to be able to see your horsepower and torque gauges. We have different timers that'll pop up as well. More gauges like that, G-force meter, and then an engine indication with a dyno. We have a navigation system in the car as well. You can view your map and everything, phone integration if connected, and then all sorts of different settings. Now if we go back into the apps, we also have drive modes you're able to adjust. You can see how everything is. We have an auto mode, custom, and then the sport and track. You can see it'll adjust your suspension, steering, transmission, which is all a really cool touch. Now if I go ahead and put it into reverse, you're gonna get that backup camera popping up. You get decent graphics on here along with your guidelines, and just going back into park. Underneath the screen now, you're gonna see all this really nice genuine carbon fiber, and then more controls. For audio, you can see the tuning, traction control, and then climate controls down below for physical buttons. So of course you have your fan speed, it'll all pop up on the screen as well, different temperatures, and then if I just open this up, we get a little bit of storage space down here, and then more storage on this right side with more of that carbon. You get nice stitching on here. Pulling this back, we have heated and cooled cup holders, which is a really cool touch, and then more of this leather with stitching. We have some storage in here with a removable tray, got a few plugs in there as well. And then taking a look at the glove box, you have a lot of space in here as you would expect. One last look at the interior. Pretty nice looking overall. You do get very nice interior materials like the leather Alcantara and the carbon fiber. Of course, this is a pretty dated infotainment system, so the tech is a little old school. However, being the final edition, it kind of makes sense for being it's on its way out. Huge panoramic roof, got all your garage door buttons up on top with more LED light controls. You have a sunglass holder, and then a nice mirror. And then now moving on to the interior, if I grab the door handle and open it up, of course the interior is going to have the same thing back here with the Alcantara and leather on the door panel, and then we get all the same nice leather back here. Get perforations in it. This can seat 3 people. The center seat can even fold down. We have 2 nice cup holders along with an armrest, and then of course we can fold that back. You can see we have climate controls in here with your air vents. You get heated seats as well as some plugs, and then a little bit of storage space. Now you can also grab these levers, pull the seats down, and they're gonna fold nearly flat just to give you a little bit more cargo area and a good entrance into the trunk. All right, so sitting in the back seat of the Chrysler 300. So I'm 5'11" sitting back here. My head almost touches the ceiling. However, there's enough headroom to actually be comfortable. With the driver's seat at my height, we have pretty good legroom and knee room as well. Good armrests and actually quite a lot of glass in here to feel pretty open. Now the seats don't recline further than the angle that they're at, but honestly they're at a pretty decent angle to where I could see sitting back here for quite a while. Passenger in the center might be a little tight, but honestly this is a really big sedan, one of the biggest sedans on the market. And given the price point, power, and all that good stuff this does have to offer, seems like a pretty practical sedan for the family. Moving on to the trunk area, you can just press this button right here. It's gonna pop open. We can just assist it upwards. This has a huge trunk. Like I just mentioned, this is a huge sedan. You could probably fit 4 sets of golf bags back here. This is a huge area Of course, with the seats down, it'll be even larger, but definitely pretty practical. You can lift up the bottom area. You got some hidden storage space under here along with that battery, and then very easily we can close it. So definitely a practical performance luxury sedan. All right, so we are setting off in the 300C. It packs a nice punch. I've always thought these Scat Packs are a really well-balanced performance platform. To have that in the 300 is really, really cool for sure. Now, it does get a little squirrely. I mean, there's a lot of power to it being rear-wheel drive, especially off the line. If you're not delicate with the throttle, it'll spin the tires pretty easily. And I'm just giving it like quarter throttle, so it's kind of hard to keep up with it, trying to keep the revs low and everything. But feeling it out a little bit, you can tell there's some power to give in this car, and it can break loose if you're not trying hard. And even if you leave it in automatic mode, it seems to rev itself quickly, so it's hard to even keep it a little bit on the tame side. But pretty cool car overall. If we go into auto, back into normal drive and everything, and just kind of chill with the car, cruise control, everything. If I can turn it on. But anyway, overall for normal driving, it's pretty comfortable. These are basically the same seats you're gonna see in a Challenger or Charger. Really comfortable, especially with all the leather. Great view out, huge windshield, really good visibility for the mirrors. Looking over your shoulder, honestly, you really don't have any blind spots or anything. It's kind of an easy car to drive. You can tell the hood is pretty far away, so there's a lot of size to it. Same with that back end, you know it's a pretty large vehicle. And you can see that ducktail spoiler in the rear view, which is pretty neat to see. So if we go back into track mode, sport mode, manual and everything, it's fun to zip through the gears. Having that 8-speed and everything with the paddles, they're pretty darn responsive and they let you have a lot of control. And there's some drama in between shifts. It kind of kicks you in the back a little bit, gives you that fun factor. And you can tell this is a car you kind of have to tame. If you really get on it, you're gonna be leaving burnouts left and right, and you don't even have to try. Like, I am driving super conservatively, and yet a little bit of throttle, it'll spin the rear tires. So you kind of gotta baby it a little bit and work your way into driving it. As far as the overall acceleration, it's not lightning fast. I mean, it's not a Hellcat or anything. Would be crazy to see the supercharged motor under the hood, but it is just very well balanced to give you something you can easily get up to speed with, get on the highway and have a lot of fun with without going too crazy like in a Hellcat, I guess. But really fun to drive overall. It just kind of has a cool vibe to it. Handling's pretty decent for being so heavy. I mean, you can take some turns with it. Of course, that V8 soundtrack is awesome. But if you're looking for the final edition of V8 luxury sedan, this is a cool way to go. All right, so we are turning to my perspective. Definitely, now that it's raining out, want to go easy on the turns when giving it some throttle. Because in track mode, traction control is off. It's a cool car to drive, it is. I think the Scat Pack is that sweet spot. You know, the 6.4 liter, it gives you the power to actually feel like you're in a pretty quick car. I think the 5.7 is a little sluggish for being such a heavy car. So the fact that they've given it this engine for the final edition car, barely touch the gas and it spins the tires. You really do need to kind of like tame the car. And I think that is what people like about muscle cars in general, because they can be a handful. This is, you know, something you can't just mash the gas and hope for the best, because you're probably going to be spinning out. But it's a pretty cool blend the way they've done it. Now the biggest downfall is this is old. I mean, this is nothing fancy, nothing new in tech. This is stuff we've seen for 10 years in here. So it's not exactly a refreshed car at all. It's just kind of going out with a bang, giving you a really big engine, basically. So it's cool what they've done, and honestly the pricing's not that bad. $56,000. I mean, you're looking at more of a basic BMW 5 Series. Actually, I think the last one I filmed was like 70 grand. So yeah, honestly, I feel like for this power plant and everything, you're talking about like a basic 3 Series maybe even, which might not be as cool if you're into a big V8. So the fact that Chrysler's giving you a V8 powered, luxury focused sedan that has all this space and everything, that is pretty neat. Alright, dry road, we got a lot better traction. It is cool to drive. And when you're driving this car like normal, honestly, it seems pretty refined. Like in automatic, you get up to speed without even thinking, and it just feels comfortable and semi-luxurious. You know, this isn't crazy on the luxury side like a European car. However, the suspension is floaty and soft, especially in auto mode, to where it feels like you're kind of on a cloud. It's really comfortable and quiet in here. You get that little bit of a rumble of the V8 when you give it just a little bit of throttle. But normal driving, it's smooth, comfortable, quiet, and just a nice place to be. You can tell the suspension is just super comfortable in this setting. When you go into track mode though, the steering definitely tightens up. The suspension, you can start feeling all the little bumps in the road. So the fact that they've given you adaptive suspension, steering, and all this stuff, you know, it makes this come alive a little bit. And even in track mode right now, it still is very solid. Given it weighs a lot, I mean, this thing just tackles bumps and feels super planted. And when you're in track mode, you can tell it's a lot more stiff in those turns. Going back into auto, wow, way more lazy in its handling and everything. So it's a nice blend that they've given you a refined luxury car, but then you tone it up, track mode, manual, you know, the car comes alive a little bit and it gives you that muscle car that you're gonna see obviously in a Scat Pack Charger, but now you're in the 300, just a little bit different vibe. Yeah, definitely a very cool experience. But if you just want old school, cool, comfortable luxury sedan with an American muscle touch to it, and something that kind of is special. I mean, this is the last edition for the 300. This car's been out, gosh, since I was a little kid. I remember when these cars first came out, they were really neat and really haven't changed since then. So it's a pretty cool blend for sure. Chrysler's giving you something like this. The next generation, from what they're saying, is gonna be all electric. So this is your last chance to buy a big V8 American muscle sedan like this. Times are changing, unfortunately. But yeah, that is the 2023, the final edition Chrysler 300C. We'll do one more acceleration for good luck. Enjoying the last V8 of this car. Man. Yeah, she's peppy. You get up to speed without really stressing the engine. Definitely a unique experience if you just want old school with a modern touch and a real engine underneath the hood. Big shout out and thank you once again to Feeney, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing this Chrysler 300C for today's video. Take a look at their website, links down below. They have a huge selection of all of the brands from Chrysler, so definitely check them out. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you guys in the next video.